Okay, people, we back for another one. It's your boy Tommy Guns. If you fuck with me, if this is not your first time, or if it's your first time watching one of my clips, please do me the favor, click the subscribe button, click the bell icon, like this video, help me out in the algorithm, because it's 2025. I'm trying to be more consistent, trying to engage with the community more and build this channel. I have a goal of 100,000 subscribers by the end of the year, or about a summer. And if y'all could help me get there, I would greatly appreciate it. But on to the topic. As you see on the screen, a very prominent dancer and DJ, and he was sometimes the host of the Ellen DeGeneres show, Twitch. He tragically passed away like 2 years ago by an apparent suicide, even though a lot of people, well, some people are kind of skeptical on whether he unalived himself or not, because he was known as a very, very sunny, happy, go lucky person, always had a smile on his face, was always kind of trying to uplift people, was always dancing around and everything like that. And then all of a sudden he unalives himself, you know, and he was famous in his own right, and he was famous, well, his family was famous by way of him, you know, specifically his wife, which was, I think she was less famous than him, but she was famous from my understanding. I didn't follow them to the extent of other people, but I would think he was the more famous person in that couple, right? But I remember seeing him 2 years ago in a Christmas movie, like a hip hop Disney Christmas movie, and you know, I was like, who is this guy? He's all there. He's all super smiley, dancing around everywhere. And I looked him up on online. I saw he was on the Ellen show, and every time I would see this guy, he would have the hugest smile on his face. And you know, I went down the whole rabbit hole, of him and his family, and there isn't an instance on social media or that you could probably find of him where he doesn't have this huge smile on his face. And but something about it didn't seem right to me. You know, like, people are not that happy all the time. You know what I'm saying? Especially in these online couple dynamics, like that puts a very huge strain on relationships. And a lot of people show super happy moments online, but be miserable behind the scenes and really hate each other guts behind the scenes. But anyway, I'm kind of getting off topic. This is his wife. He has been passed away for 2 years, and his wife recently dropped a book and did an interview with People magazine, and people are up in arms about it because she decided to air his dirty laundry out and tell the world about some of his addictions, and really paint like a negative picture of her late husband in the media and in her book, which is a memoir of sorts. And she decided to put information in it that she found in his journal, very, very private stuff, to sell the book. And I think it's a very despicable act. And let's just check out some of this interview that she did, and we can dive on into it.
I'm starting this new chapter where I'm really going to be finding the best version of who I am, and not the best version of who I was with Steven or with my past traumas even before Steven, outside of being a mom, outside of being a career woman, outside of writing a book, outside of this. Like, who am I just existing right now? Our anniversary weekend was right before everything happened. And it's so interesting when I look back, because now there are little signs, but when we were in the moment, everything was beautiful. We had chose to go stay in Laguna Beach, and we chose that because Wesley was having a a soccer tournament out there, and we wanted to go see her, and everything was blissful, and we were watching, the soccer games and eating room service and going to have drinks together and going to museums. We bought a sculpture together, and everything was great. We drove there, and then we drove home, and
What's going on with her neck? But anyway, I digress. Hold on, let me get rid of this. Can I get rid of it? I guess not.
I had no clue. And I think that's the confusion that I've always been left with, because I'm not going to have closure, my kids aren't going to have closure, because it's very confusing when you think everything's wonderful. But then then you look back and you're like, oh, maybe.
She seems very unbothered by the whole thing, right? And she seems kind of angry at the fact that he decided to, leave, so to speak, by unaliving himself, which I guess is understandable.
Maybe that was a sign. But that's also still something I'm still trying to process and understand myself, which is why therapy is wonderful. But for real, it's interesting because there were no signs at that moment for me. I didn't know.
Okay. If you're in such a happy, loving, pure, and perfect relationship where it's always smiles and all this stuff, how can you not see signs that your husband or your spouse wants to unalive themselves? Unless you're the most narcissistic, most unattentive person or spouse to your husband's feelings, like real, genuine feelings. Unless, I know he had to act for the world, but if he had to act with you at home, I think that could have been like a reason that led him to do it in the first place. But let's keep going.
And even the days coming home, I remember when we got home, we made a dance video. There was a dance video that he actually wanted to do. He wanted to do it I think it was like either every Sunday or every Monday before Christmas as a family. And we did it. And I was reading a story to my kids that night, and we had dinner, and there weren't signs. Wesley is so strong, but having someone say last words to you that you didn't really process at the time as being anything.
I think she's talking about their daughter now, but I'm stuck on this she didn't see any signs that this man was depressed to the point of wanting to off himself. But let's keep going. And if it's a few points I want to hit in this, but let's see, let's fast forward a little bit.
That same school where he dropped her off. I think she also sees those words as something lives, and then Stephen liked to hide away. Those are Stephen was introverted. Would think about my husband at the time, I would think, oh, I love that Twitch is such a great performer, but then when he comes home, he feels safe enough to be Stephen. Twitch was extremely extroverted. Stephen was introverted. Twitch loved to be the light in everyone's lives, and then Stephen liked to hide away.
Probably
Those are very
two
different personalities that were battling each other any given day. And we would talk about that in interviews, that he very much admitted that was going on. And I think as I was with him for so long, and that's how he's been the entire relationship, I was like, it's a beautiful thing that he can be both. But then when you start stepping away from the new fact of what's happened, I look at that, I was like, wait, what if I would have made him feel safe, or with therapy, he could have felt safe to be him all the time? And what if he felt safe being this one individual that has different kind of energies, but you don't have to be a completely different person and put them aside from each other? I wish in that part of my life with him that he would have felt comfortable asking for help, wanting to go to therapy.
But why didn't he feel comfortable asking his wife for help though? Cause see, it's a whole bunch of allegations and a whole bunch of rumors circulating around this lady right now. Even from her ex-manager. I think her ex-manager called her a narcissist, said she was a horrible person. And her ex-manager is not the only person that said this. A lot of people, apparently she don't fuck with his side of the family. And a lot of people from his side of the family spoke out when they saw that she released this book saying that, or spilling the beans, that she made all of them sign NDAs to even come to his funeral, including his mother, his birth mother, had to sign a non-disclosure agreement to even come to this man's funeral. You know what I'm saying? There's a whole bunch of people in his family saying the same thing, and even a very close friend of hers and his is speaking out, airing this lady out. You know what I'm saying? If you look at her Instagram comments, it's just a whole bunch of people under there. And, you know, I got to give her credit for not cutting her comments off, because every other celebrity would have did it way before now. But everybody is just kind of reading her for her bullshit. It's even more rumors coming out that, you know, allegedly she could have been involved in this man's passing, you know. And it just makes me think back to when I first, got hip to dude and looking at him, because I don't know if y'all can, but I can tell when somebody's smiling and they just putting a mask on and it's just kind of fake. And that's exactly what I saw with him. You know what I'm saying? And I've been in public relationships that you start and you start the relationship, you start sharing your relationship with the public with the best intentions, you know, when everything's great. And that whole process somehow brings out bad things and bad feelings. You know, it puts a certain pressure on the relationship to be this pristine, perfect thing, which causes stress and the degeneration of said relationship. And at the same time, you have to keep up appearances, especially if that relationship is now generating, you know, income, and, you know, you're getting notoriety because you're in this relationship. So you always have to seem perfect for the people who follow you, and that can be very draining, and it can turn into a very negative and toxic thing where the two people in a relationship can't even openly communicate with each other anymore and have to hide away like she's speaking of right now. But we're gonna keep going in the interview.
Wanting to talk to his friends or loved ones or people he felt comfortable with about what he was really feeling. But I think he was always so strong for everyone. He wanted to continue to be that. And that's what I've learned the most, is that even for myself, I've had some major lows, you know, as I'm trying to figure this out and navigate this myself, and I'm very scared to ask for help. And I'm learning how much strength it actually shows when you decide to stand up for yourself and ask for help and finally lean on someone. You know, I know for me, for the last 2 years, I felt like I wanted to get my kids through everything. I want to get my family through everything. And I want to get all my friends and all the fans and all these people that loved our family so much. I wanted to make sure I could carry them and get them through it. And then I realized, well, wait, I haven't taken a moment to also heal myself. And so it's like I'm learning that what he experienced, I want to be an example of now and show other people they can do it.
Look at her trying to act like she all perfect and shit, man. Something about this lady I just don't trust. This is Courtney Ann Platt. I guess she's a friend of those, and she made a comment under the post. It says, anyone who knows me know I go straight to the source during a conflict and handle my business. But since there's clearly no shame in being so public, I haven't said a word in 2 years, but here I go. I was there the moment you both connected. I was there the day you got engaged. I stood by your side on the wedding day. I was in your home the day he died. I was by your side because your husband was my family. It didn't matter how often we spoke, how often we saw each other. We were bonded. I don't know what that word is. This is by far the most tacky, classless, opportunistic act I have ever seen in my entire life. We all had to sign some weird NDA to attend his funeral. Even his own mother, who you treated like garbage this entire time. And let's just remember, you wouldn't even have a husband if it wasn't for her. Not to share anything or ruin his name as if that was on anyone's mind in the first place. And here you go and write a book with all the dirty laundry, smearing his name and attempting to dim the bright, loyal, loving light that was your husband, my friend. Whether any of this is true or not is actually beside the point. This is how you protect the boss name. You so quickly drop your social media platforms 48 hours after he passed. His legacy, this is how you protect his children from any further humiliation, hurt, and despair. This is what you want them to remember him about. You have moved on. You're living your life. You're on every red carpet. You're on every carpet you get. I don't know if that was the whole statement, but that's the picture I found. But yeah, it's wild, man. She's saying she loved this man so much. He was my light, he was my rock, and this and that. But you find some dirt on him in a box in a closet, and the first thing you do is go to the media about it and write a book about it. And, put all his dirty laundry out for not only the world to hear, but his children to hear, his family to hear, his mom to hear. When, if you really loved this man and cared about this man, and you wasn't the clout chasing narcissist that a lot of people are saying you are, you would have buried that and it would have never saw the light of day. This woman is coming off as a very evil and narcissistic person. And according to her ex-manager, let's see if we can find her ex-manager statement. Okay, it says, for a decade, I put up with so much disrespect and just plain evil stuff from you because of him. I should have dropped you as a manager. I hate that I built you up and fought extremely hard for you to get jobs, even hiring you as a judge on a show on Bravo I helped build. Should have let them fire you when you showed your true colors on set and held us up because you could barely speak. Don't act holier than thou with the demons and skeletons you have. Your house is made of glass. I don't have to say a thing. Others are coming for you now. People know my addiction journey because it's part of my testimony. If you truly are healed, then share your true self and not monetize Steven. I guess Steven was Twitch's real name. So yeah, allegedly this lady is a demon. And I don't know, this is a pretty curious case, and I think it needs to get more light, which is why I wanted to kind of go over the interview a little bit, share it with my audience, get you guys' opinion on it, and, just kind of mull it over a little bit more in my own head. And I'm going to follow this story more. And let me know what you guys think in the comment section, man. Do you think you could be in a marriage with somebody and not see any signs of them being like depressed to the point where they might do something to harm themselves? I don't think I could. And if I was that inattentive of them, I wouldn't proclaim it to the world how head over heels in love I was with them. And I don't think if I was widowed or men widowed in religion, I don't think if that happened, God forbid, knock on wood, I don't think I would be able to move on as fast as this lady had. I don't think I would be sitting in an interview smiling and kikiing, talking about the passing of the so-called love of my life. But get in the comment section. Let's talk about it. Let's debate about it. And let's see where this story goes. Appreciate y'all. Peace.